See, I've lived a great portion of my life as a spiritual dwarf, and when I was never meant to live as a spiritual dwarf. I've always been a spiritual giant. I've lived my life where circumstances have been bigger than me. I have learned from a very young age that circumstances aren't bigger than God. I know that to the core of my being. Circumstances aren't bigger than God. And I think anyone in here who's spent even a moment in His presence is aware and can say with absolute conviction that my circumstances aren't bigger than the good Creator of the universe. They're not bigger than God. But I want to tell you right now that Jesus didn't come, live, die, and rise again to show us how big He is and that He is strong for our circumstances. What He came to do was to purchase back for us access to our original value and our original DNA and our original design and our original freedom and our original grace so that we could live in circumstances and that we could be greater than our circumstances. He came to give us access to freedom, and freedom actually looks like someone who can walk on this earth in a revelation of who He is and live as an expression of His kingdom come. Christ in me is the hope of glory. Christ in me is the revelation. I am a righteous man living in a revelation of who He is, and even in my weakness, I am strong. Why? Because grace says that about me. Grace came in and it gives me access to who He is, what He purchased for me, and therefore access to who I am. Who do you say that I am? He asks us that, and when we say you're the Christ, the Son of the living God, He looks at us and He says, yes, you're a chip off the old block. When you look at me, you should be really amazed by who you are. When we behold Him in a mirror, we are seeing a reflection of who we are. The reason I'm passionate about telling people about the perfection of who God is, the reason I go after it day in, day out, day in, day out, the reason I go around the world speaking about the perfection of the nature of God is because I'm convinced that when you become convinced in who He is, you get convinced in who you are, and you no longer live your life overwhelmed by your circumstances. You no longer live your life as a spiritual dwarf hoping someday to become a spiritual giant. You live your life as the spiritual giant you already are. And I'm convinced that the world is transformed and changed when sons and daughters live in the revelation of who they are in Christ. And they don't walk around saying, I am weak, but He is strong. That's not revelation. No kidding. I am weak and He is strong is not the gospel that Jesus came to give us. Jesus came to give us the gospel of in Christ, when I am weak, I am strong. I can revel in any circumstances. No circumstance has me. I have it because I am seated at the right hand of my Father.